Good evening. It's season 4 of the much-loved talk show, Cut Deep. I am your host, Cindy Roseanne Jones. We had an extended break and we did indeed miss you. We're happy to be back and excited to bring you up to date on the territory's happenings, do some analysis with you, as well as bring you some new exciting topics and discussions this season. Welcome to Cut Deep. It's season 4, episode 1. The concept of Cut Deep was developed with a focus on encouraging the wider public to think more in depth on issues that plague us, encouraging persons to have a voice and to use that voice to invoke change. Cut Deep is an interactive platform cutting through the noise and political rhetoric. It is raw, uncut, challenging you to think critically. What do the issues mean for us? What part do we play? It is a platform that will move the Virgin Islands toward unified, integrated success. I want to welcome back Blossoms Flores as our support sponsor for Cut Deep. I want to highlight and thank those of you who support this platform from behind the scenes. Thank you. Kishma Penn, my favorite go-to co-host, is sitting in with me tonight as we attempt to catch up with what's been happening across the territory. But we'll take a quick break and then we'll get right into it.
Our floral experts use their creative flair to design beautiful and exotic bouquets. We are the on-island wedding experts, and for boating enthusiasts, we can help you to add a touch of floral elegance, life, and color to your yacht, mega yacht, both locally and internationally. We've even worked with celebrities. At Blossoms, we continue to deliver smiles and watch our customers bloom.
Welcome back. It's a brand new season of Cut Deep. If you're just joining us, you're right on time. Welcome. It's season 4, episode 1 of Cut Deep. Thank you to our sponsors and supporters for your continued support. As mentioned before we went to the break, I have Kishma Penn, my favorite go-to co-host, hanging out in the studio with me tonight. I'm happy to have her back. We're going to catch up on the territory's happenings, so stick with us and we're going to dig right into it. Kishma, did you miss me?
Little bit, man. The banter does be fun sometimes.
Welcome back to the set of Cut Deep. I'm happy to have you. The show has been off air for about 4 weeks. I took an extended break, take some time to let my followers or listening audience miss me a bit. A lot has happened and a lot has not happened. I feel like we're going around this, what do you call it? This the jobble wheel, and it's like the same issues coming up over and over and over. So we're gonna look at some things that have come up over the past 4 weeks that we haven't kind of addressed yet with our audience, and then some other things that came up that's old but has gotten some teeth over the past couple of days. One of those was Pickle Moth's video. But before we go there, before we get to that, I know that everybody is wondering if I'm going to address the issue with the killing of my dogs, if I'm going to address it on the show tonight. I don't intend to. I just want to say that it's unfortunate that it has happened. I thank you for the support that I have received and the sentiments and so forth. However, I will be addressing it tomorrow. I have a statement that I will make on what has occurred, and I think it's something that I cannot under any circumstances allowed to rest or just disappear. So I intend to address it wholeheartedly, as I said that I would initially in my first post. So I look forward to sharing that with the public tomorrow. It'll probably be a new day in the BVI. Let's talk about the Pickle Moth video. Pickle Moth. He's a 7th district, another somebody from the east.
Another one from the east.
I listened to his video in the very early hours of Monday morning.
Yeah, I watched
It was
yesterday
just
too.
yeah, it was just over an hour, and I usually don't listen to videos for too long. I'll
Correct.
start and then I'll get back to it. But I listened to it all through my getting ready for work, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, quite a bit of what was in his video we've talked about before. We've had
Right.
those conversations before. I think that he has given them a new dig
Right.
with those issues, and I really like it. I love, we got a new word for
Mutism.
our colloquial dictionary, which is which is a great. I loved it. He called the government, mutts, and he's always calling them that.
Right.
I so agree with him because there is nobody in there, nobody that can find their voice to stand up for the people that went to the polls and voted for them. It's quite a thing to watch. Like, no matter what happens, nothing at all, are they able to stand up and say, boom, Honorable Premier, I think you got this one wrong, and I can't stand with you on it. There are a couple of them that say to me, oh, we have our disagreements behind the scenes. Well, if you have your disagreement behind the scenes, but then you come out as a unified front on an issue that isn't working for the BVI, I
Right.
mean,
And not working for your constituents as well.
yeah, like how does that work? You argue behind the scenes, this is bad, but you come forward
Well,
united on it.
You gotta remember, right? This is the same political school of thinking that had a problem with when there would be open discourse with varying points of view within the NDP government, where the other side labeled them as saying, oh, them infighting and stuff like that. So, of course, they're not going to put forward that view of infighting, which actually is not infighting, because each of us, even though each of us belong to a particular color or particular team, we all represent a different set of people within the territory, because the concerns of Langlook are not the concerns of Eastern. They're also not the concerns of Seacoast Bay. They're not the concerns of Western. So if you have to make your voice loud for your specific area and your constituents, because that is your job. You're their representative.
But then I don't have a problem with that. I don't have
No,
a problem
I don't, but
if you're fighting
right.
with your premier to get stuff for your district. That's different.
Yeah, but
when
they're not voicing at all, because
Yeah.
they seem to think that having a disagreement in publicly in the house means that you're not for your team. But I can't. It's impossible. We've worked places before. You've been on teams. We can't all agree on the same thing. The whole reasons that companies and corporations have bought it so that you could get the majority agreeing to do this, and the other who ain't happy about
And
it,
you
will
have to
just drag
debate
their
it.
foot and deal with it.
You have to debate it. You have to
Exactly.
discuss it.
Exactly.
Discussions get heated. You have a glass of wine and you're done. But the thing is, like I said, I don't have a problem with them, behind the scenes fighting for their districts or whatever. But even issues that affect the territory on a whole is what I refer to. They're quiet on those.
I don't think it should be behind the scenes. I think if they have, and even if you are in agreement, like I'll reference a point. Vojangada and Anigada are probably two of the hardest hits by the borders being closed with tourism, right? Vojangada people not happy with Vincent's being quiet about the Honorable Minister being quiet about not saying anything about the borders, and they're not in it, whether we like it or we don't like it. Most of them are not in agreement to the borders being closed, or they're not looking at the health. For them, they understand the health concerns, but they're also looking at, we alive, but we ain't got the money. We alive, but we can't eat. We alive, but my hotel is empty. I'm alive, but, and healthy, but I have no means of supporting my family. So what do you really, that's a rocket hard place. And they were a lot of the a lot of the representatives were very quiet to the constituents. If you walked in these people's district, they were mad. The people that were very mad.
They're still mad. They're still mad.
Yeah. I mean, I was just on that quite recently, and the folks were mad over there, and they were like, they just want the place free up because, I think the problem is we on Tatola can't see the importance of tourism because our island don't depend on it as
Well,
as the other islands do.
I don't agree with you. I think we understand the importance of tourism to the economy. We know which of our islands are indeed our tourism drivers. We know that and we appreciate that, and I don't think us as residents and citizens have a problem with that. Actually, we're fighting to get tourism back because tourism being down affects the entire
Correct.
British Virgin Islands.
Correct.
Okay? The entire British Virgin Islands. So I don't think that's one thing I realize is that people would have a lot of problems. They'll be able to talk and they'll say things, and then when they get into a meeting with the ministers, for example, if they go over to have you can't hear their views. They have nothing to say. Like nothing comes forward, and so nothing can be done. If you're not in favor of something, shout it from the mountaintop. If you're yelling at me, the premier is here now. You don't have to yell at him, but at least tell him what your problems are. So they walk around thinking that people are agreeing to what is going on. Well, some people.
Some of us go to talking in closed room forums. We all in eyes in the wall.
We're cowards.
When it comes to saying things to people, we can't say anything. But you can't necessarily blame them all the way. Some of it is you've been victimized. You see other people victimized so much. You won't want to talk to be the next victim.
Mutts.
Laid back, right back to the wall. Mutts.
We're mutts. It's unfortunate.
Mutts.
The other thing I really have to, there was something startling. And again, I've talked about it on this show when it happened, and that was the stimulus monies that went to fishermen and farmers.
Don't call no
now,
names, Cindy, before we get in
well,
trouble.
I wasn't going to call any names, but I can call names because this is government business.
This is true.
This is government business, and I can call every single name on these papers and the amounts next to them. But I'm not going to do that tonight because these papers are circulating. They were sent to me, so I know they're going around. And lots of people by tomorrow morning will have access to these papers. So the papers that I have in my hand, they are a breakdown of the stimulus monies that went to farmers and fisher folk in this territory to aid them during or assist them during this COVID period. Now, as I said before, I've talked about this before on my show, talked about these $20,000 checks that were passed out. But the truth is, I didn't know that it was so many checks. This is a lot of checks. I have about 6 or 8 pages of names in Excel form. And this one is for the farmers. So the top checks for the farmers were $22,500. So you had farmers that got $22,500, and I'm gonna assume that those are the top tier, well-established farmers in this territory. And the next amount was $15,000 checks, $13,500 checks. The lowest check I'm seeing here is $4,500. I see a very prominent young man that is a farmer on here. He got $0. I don't know what the reason is. I was trying to call him to figure out why he didn't get any money. And as I'm perusing this list, Kishma, I don't see your name on here. Why is that?
And they study me. I asked initially during the lockdown. I remember contacting the minister. He gave me an email address to email, which and I emailed the folks. I said, listen, I don't need money. I need fertilizer, pot, and done.
Did you get that?
No, I get none. I still waiting on my pots and my done.
Well, that's probably not enough to buy a vote. I think fertilizer isn't enough to buy your vote. That's how I would look at it, because if that's all you need as a farmer, and I know you've been farming and selling and giving out, and you're asking for help with fertilizer and pots, and you couldn't get that.
That's it. That's all I asked for.
I see people on this list, and I'm going to be really blunt about it. I see people on this list that I didn't even know would put their hands in dirt.
Maybe they have the license.
Okay?
Maybe they have a commercial.
Not only that,
license.
if you can walk around in designer clothes and shoes and and you, why do you need a check from government to farm? I don't like the names that I'm seeing on this list. There are businesses in the BVI that have gone belly up. They've put their all into their businesses, and they either didn't get a check from government because government couldn't care to assist them, probably based on who they were. And then you have businesses that have suffered so much loss. Businesses that are the foundation of our small business economy, okay, that have lost so much and were given $6,000 checks. Are
you surprised at the rationality behind the handing out of the money?
I don't know what the rationale is.
Hold on.
I don't know what the rationale is.
Hold on. You're looking at the people and you're surprised by the names, right? But
I'm surprised by the names, correct.
This is the same administration that is giving a prominent shipping company, White, is tens of $1,000s a month to patrol the borders using a badge, the slowest thing on the water.
Well, you're making me smart because I see.
I mean, I'm saying just me follow the school of thought. If you're going to, you care about the okay, yes, we do understand that because we have a lot of islands and a lot of water that our waters or borders are had to patrol, but you're using literally the slowest thing on the ocean is what you're using to patrol your waters, and you're paying a whole, it's tens of $1,000s a month for it? Something. The figure was in the news sometime back.
Kishma, so, I mean,
I'm not surprised if there are people names on that list that would make me go like, wow, this person really beg the government for money. And then two, we don't have no conscience here as people. We could blame the government one way, but then you have to think about the people them who actually accepted the checks, cashed the checks, and were part of this whole thing.
Kishma, a lot of people in here, they just farm for the love of it, for their families. Why do you need this money? Why are you taking this money? I find this to be embarrassing. I will never ask our treasury for something unless I needed it.
You think like that?
I would really have to need it.
But they're not thinking like that. And I'm pretty sure some of those names you're seeing are also civil servants.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And some of those with
and
those
I know a lot of these do not.
Servants.
A lot of these people do not sell. So I want to know the rationale for how this money was dished out. You know, and that's what's amazing to me, that we get upset and you know, you have the premier and you have Claude out there making this a black and white thing with the UK. This is why we're here with this COI, because we just can't manage ourselves. We just can't regulate ourselves. It's really embarrassing to look at this list of farmers and to know that they've received this type of money.
I don't know if it's that we can't manage ourselves. I think the problem is that you were family, you are public servant. You know that there's an ugly beast that's already established in the system, and it's spinning, and it's walking, and it's functioning. And all they ever do is find other ways to make it work and function. So it's not that we can't. We don't want to manage ourselves. We've already had a bad precedent set in each administration that just inherited, and you be like, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't type mentality towards these things. Stop staring at that list.
As I look at this list,
that gonna make you.
Listen, this is what you call abuse of the people's money. This is what you call abuse of the people's money. And I am glad that Pick 'em Off Yeah, I'll call him Pickle Moth. I can call him Kareem because that's his name. I'm glad Pickle Moth has brought this list out. I'm glad it's going around because I know a lot of the people on here that wouldn't want people to know that they got government monies for something that they know they don't do. I almost said a word. Something that they don't do and that they actually, farm for the fun of it, and you're happy to take a $13,000 check from government. You're happy to take a $20,000 check from government.
Can you feel entitled?
If you want to help your constituents, come on, help them. But like this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. For me, I would have preferred to put my designer shoes and bags on sale, sell them, and start my little project. We're going to take a break and come right back.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome back. I have my co-host, my amazing go-to co-host, Kishma, on set with me, and we're just discussing what has been going on around the territory for the past 4 weeks while Cut Deep was on a break. We have quite a bit of papers, and we're going to try to get through them. I see we spent about 20 minutes already, so we got about 40 minutes, Kishma.
I hope you put on that list so you could stop.
And I put the list down. That list has got me fired up, so I've put it down.
Let's talk about the Whistleblowers Act. Let's leave the list alone.
Yes, the Whistleblowers Act. What are your thoughts on that, Kishma?
Let's dissect
the Whistleblowers Act. So, the Whistleblowers Act and the Contractor General Act in the House of Assembly right now. I think they've had their first reading. The Cabinet, I'll call them the Cabinet, the 5 ministers were there. They presented the bills about a week ago. They did community, I'm going to say liaising on the bills to get feedback and so forth. I went to the one that was held over at the Altes Catholic School. About 10 of us were there. I'm very disappointed because what I want to say to people is that when bills like this come to the House of Assembly, and I think all bills need public input anyway, but when you have bills like the whistleblowers legislation, you need to give your input because before you know it, your voice is shut and there's nothing you can do about it.
Based on the act, your voice is shut.
Correct.
It's already shut.
Correct.
I mean,
But because it hasn't gone to the House yet and you can debate it, people should come out and debate.
I highly doubt that this administration will necessarily write a real Whistleblowers Act. Mm-hmm. And the reason I would tell you that would happen is I've been a government employee for more than 2 decades. Mm-hmm. The mismanagement and misappropriation and the mishandling of government funds been happening from the time I came to the service.
Before you born.
And exactly, probably before I was born. The machine or the monster, or whatever you want to call it, that allows, the mechanism that allows for this to happen, it does not have outside intervention. The whole entire network is set up within the civil service. Everything is already in play. It's already running in the service. There are already corrupt and non-corrupt and people who get pressured and people who don't get pressured to make this monster work. It's working, and certain departments are just giant wheels and giant cogs in the system now. The issue to me with the Whistleblowers Act is the fact that it's the civil servants are the ones who have the information. And the act is written in such a way how they're proposing it. Like, I can't even go outside the people who I know for sure are responsible for what's happening to speak about it. So basically, you're telling me, I know you are my boss and I know that you're mismanaging the government funds. and I have to come to you to tell you, I know that you're mismanaging the government funds. And that makes no sense to me.
None. So just so that we're clear for the audience, I want them to make sure they have the information. So the part of the act that Kishma is referring to is number 5, section 2, part 2, number 5, number 1A through J. Okay? And it says disclosure of impropriety may be made to anyone. So impropriety means any wrongdoing that you perceive. Any wrongdoing should be made to anyone or more of the following persons. So if you have come into an act of impropriety or some wrongdoing and you want to complain, the outlets are an employer of the whistleblower. Okay? An employer of the whistleblower, the governor, the premier, the attorney general, the director of public prosecutions, the auditor general, a member of the House of Assembly, the complaints commissioner, a cabinet minister or junior minister, or the head of a recognized religious body.
The police is not on there.
They're not.
Okay, so you're...
Why is that? The governor is in charge of the police force.
I understand that. It's a whistleblowing act, and it has to do with the mismanagement of...
It has to do with crime.
With crime, with
and you can't report to the police.
Government funds, but you can't report it to the people who actually have to be part of the investigation. Because if something does go forward, the police are going to be the ones who will eventually charge you and lock you up.
Here's the thing. This particular section is what I went to the public meeting to bring up and discuss. And I brought it up, I discussed it, I gave my position on it, and I feel I did that on behalf of the BVI, and who was unable to make it out to that. I had a look at the Contractor General bill. And Kishma, the first thing in that Contractor General bill, right, outlines it as an office, as a structure. Its infrastructure is set up. It's clear in the first pages that it is to be independent of government. Okay? So I'm reading this thing, this 13-page thing called the Whistleblowers Act, and there's no structure to it. When you're talking about legislations like these need to be independent of government.
I agree.
They need to be set up as offices. Okay? The only person in this number 5, 1A to J that should be here is the complaints commissioner. And he should be heading that office that should be independent of government. It's the only way it's going to work. And I will go as far to say that not one Virgin Islander, especially our generational ones, should sit there and head that office. That's how I feel.
It's not gonna work. I don't think anybody is gonna come forward based on the simple fact that you know you don't have protection. I mean, like I said,
this has no teeth.
The monster that exists that causes these things to happen with the government contracts, with the mismanagement of funds, the misappropriation of things, they're there. They're people who are literally above your head screaming at you to sign payments for illegal things, or telling you if you don't do it, they're going to send you home, and they're pressuring you in all manner of ways.
Because they don't want their signature on it.
Correct.
They want a fall guy.
They want somebody who's going to fall for it. Correct.
Yeah, they want a fall guy. They're not going down for it. You're going to go down for it.
You don't even know how much I was laughing internally when they said, and members of the House of Assembly, when I'm not this current administration, but I know for a fact with previous administrations, there were some of the same ones them screaming at the people them to do things that they shouldn't do. Exactly.
Yeah. And so I have a real problem with the structure of this. It has no teeth, and it's not structured properly. And I do not feel that this should pass the House of Assembly in this manner. And if it does pass the House of Assembly and none of
pacify the people.
Yeah, and it's not to even pacify the people. It's not to pacify the people, because this is a silencer for the people. And when you listen to this administration go out and talk about this, they mostly talk about, cutting down people who've been out here spoiling people's name. This is how they come out to present this bill. That's what they talk about most. So it makes you wonder, well, what is this bill about? Is it really to curtail what has been happening in government? Because we know what's going on in government. Is it to curtail that? Or is it to stop people from attempting to do the right thing?
They're not interested in transparency and accountability.
They absolutely not.
They're interested in the idea of transparency.
No, they're not.
No, they're interested in the idea of presenting the idea, because it's the same thing. It's like with the whole, like Mark was saying, it's the smoke and mirrors. I'm going to show you
Correct.
that. I'm going to show you that I did what you asked, what I told you I was going to do over here. So you don't pay attention to all the things I promised you over here that I didn't do and I didn't touch. So they're not actually...
I honestly don't even think that's the case with this whistleblowers legislation.
They're just interested in the idea of transparency and accountability. They're interested in the fact that if they are successful and they pass it, they can then stand on the podium 2 years from now and say, we brought the Whistleblowers Act. What act? That joke act? That's what you brought?
But you know what I think,
that
Kishma?
we can't do anything with?
You know what I think? I think if we weren't having a COI, this would have not even come to the House of Assembly.
I agree. That's why
they can say whatever they want, because every time they come, they're like, oh, and nobody forced us to do this. Nobody probably didn't force you to do it. You had to do it, but now you're doing it under this pressure.
Correct.
So it's the same thing. This here is a waste of, and let me apologize to whoever has worked on this and put it together, but I'm sure you put it together off of direction. Okay? No lawyer or anybody that is worth their salt in legal could tell me.
Who's the legislative drafter for the government?
I don't know. It would have to be the Attorney General Chambers.
Yeah, but who is the actual legislative drafter?
I don't know.
There's supposed to be a lawyer that's in there whose background is specifically in legislative drafting. That's all they do. They write laws.
I don't know who that is. I mean, we can try to find out. But this, as it is, should not pass the House of Assembly. And if it passes the House of Assembly, I'm asking the governor not to assent to it in this form. It is not in the best interest of the people. It is not in the best interest of the territory. It can pass the House.
It can pass.
But then it doesn't mean that it has to pass thing. And I am hoping if it passed the House and no changes were made, that it's not ascended to. That's my position on it. I'm assuming you have the same position. It shouldn't go through the House of Assembly.
I don't think it needs to go anywhere. I think it's, like I tell you, I think it's a joke. The simple fact that here's what needs to happen, whether or current administration need to admit it, yes or no. The system is broken. There is a monster that's in there. The monster allows for mismanagement of government funds and for us to not get dollar for value. The monster was not created by outside entities, though outside entities benefit from it. The monster was created by inside entities, and that we have just inherited this baby, and the baby is about 40 or 50 years old, and the baby need to die. The baby.
Bathwater, everything gotta go.
Yeah, the baby and the titi too long. The
everything
baby need to get to cut off at this point in time. And the reality is, the simple response of the administration to the Commission of Inquiry in a sort of, we don't have people with, we don't have no improprieties. That speaks to the fact that you're not ready to have the conversation, because if you are in fact transparent and you are in fact doing things the right way, and a man coming to audit you, what you to do?
Hand up
Open your
everything.
books.
And shut your mouth.
And you have nothing to say because you're straight.
And shut your mouth.
Exactly, but you can't do it. And so now you come with this Whistleblowers Act, and now you come with this other entity, and you come with this one and that one, and you bring in these things to start to tell the people, look what we're doing, and
distraction.
And here's the next distraction. You're coming to tell the folks, and hit it good on the head. I talked about it a few days ago on my live. You finishing this massive construction project 13 months ahead of schedule, which is unheard of in the field of construction. And if you finishing at that rate, you're spending a lot of money to bring it in at time.
And it's still on budget.
So either you cutting corners or you spending a lot of money. And the fact that you're telling us it's still on budget and we still ain't see the parking lot them for it get built. So that's the next thing. And then as Muff say, I don't see the play. Then he calculated that it would cost like $300,000, a little bit more for each unit. He said, I don't see what's gonna happen. Who building it gonna buy it and that's who gonna rent it. That's who gonna own it.
His figure was low, and that was something else we had discussed on this show, and we had calculated somewhere around $567,000. But I don't know where his calculations are, but they are definitely not. I'm not the homes that they're supposed to be.
I'm not sure if they deviated from the original plan, because I did consult on the original plan in a different capacity. So I know the layout of what the homes are supposed to be, the 2 bedrooms, the 3 bedroom condos, the 1 bedroom units, and I know what it's supposed to look like. I, however, don't know how much the plan has changed, because things often change during construction.
Right, of course.
So based on if they had the proposed number of units that they had before, or if the number of units have doubled. If the number of units have doubled, based on what it is I seen up on that hill, like say if they cut them down and decide to make more units, yeah man, that's like, is it a serious killing going again make, or serious slaughtering happen to the people in the Virgin Islands pocket? Because as I keep explaining to people in construction, you got triangle, you got 3 sides: fast, good, and cheap. If it's fast and good, it can be cheap. If it's cheap and good, it can be fast. You could get any 2 sides, but you could never have. And fast in construction is never good.
It's never good.
Never good. To have good speed, to be fast, and to have good finishes and accuracy, you have to be spending a lot of money, because that means you got top workman quality to be doing, and you're running that labor. You'll be top heavy on the labor. I tell you.
Something is at play.
Something cooking there.
You know, as I said to the Premier in his cabinet in that meeting last week when they were presenting these bills, I think any legislation that has to do with good governance coming to the table, they are groundbreaking legislations. We haven't had legislations like these, okay? So they're groundbreaking, and we should do our best to make sure at this point in 2021, because we're about 30 years late on tabling these, at least bring something that's worth it. And while you're bringing this, and while you're bringing this, if you want to say that you really care about transparency, you care about the people, bring us the freedom of information legislation before you leave the House. That I will believe, if you bring it to the House, that nobody has pressured you to do it. Bring it to the House, Honorable Premier. That would be the legislation to, let me not say that. I almost said to put your government back in, but I'm not interested in your government going back in. So bring that to the House, of Assembly, and make these legislation have some teeth. Make them something that the people can actually resort to. Make them something that we can look forward to some kind of change in the BVI.
I don't see it happening under this administration. This administration seems a little too, like, as I always say, you know, high five to Marlon, because he'd make his mouth long. With the hair from Mitch, so we know he'd make he a little nice. I don't know what's happening with the opposition, all of the opposition members included, because I don't hear Honorable Fraser too often. And I do not hear from
well, Mark said he's a statesman. Well, he's working for all the people.
Well,
so
I kind of like Mac subtle. Mac gave the House of Assembly and the people of the 4th District a subtle FU if they realize what's going on.
He said he's a statesman and he's here for everybody. And
I kind of don't blame the man based on the way and how things are. You know, this type of regime that we fall ourselves under. I don't blame the man.
Well, it's true. I mean, even as a legislator, he has a lot of business going on as well, and I'm pretty sure he too is of the feeling that, I don't want to be victimized. I've worked hard. I don't want to have them kill my businesses. And that's another thing that makes me really sad, Kishma, that we have to brace ourselves as business people. Worry about which administration gets into office and have to worry as to whether they're going to kill your business deliberately or not.
Whether
it's
they like you,
sad reality. And,
whether
and
they
those
like
are
you or
things
they don't like you, if you're in favor with them or you're not in favor.
Yeah, we got to move away from these things. Legislations and so forth need to come to the House and make it through the House, and you do what you're elected to do, and stop trying to kill the territory. Stop trying to hurt people. Stop trying to hurt families. Stop trying to. It's just a crazy thing, man.
We all have to live here.
Yeah, it's enough.
Pick'em, I've said it. We're gonna survive. No matter what you do. No matter what you do to us, even if we're broke at the end of these 4 years, we will survive. And if we survive, we don't know if you gonna survive when them 4 years end. When we get to the end, will you survive if you get on? Because he publicly dared them. He said, I wish somehow you don't try your hands back in the ring.
Yeah, don't throw,
I wish I would have the audacity to put your hand in the ring.
I don't have to say here right now where I stand. The whole Virgin Islands know where I stand in terms of my district rep. Whatever I have to do, he won't be sitting there again. Not only as my district rep, but I think that when you speak to people out on the street, whether if it's on the corner, wherever, any type of person, okay, people express a lot of disappointment in Natalio. They express a lot of disappointment in Natalio. I express a lot of disappointment in Natalio, and how can you pretend that well? How?
I am not disappointed.
How can you stand for so many things and then you come in and you stand for nothing?
I am not disappointed. I actually, I'm not even there. There have been some legislators that have popped up in the 7th and 8th district in the last 3 or 4 elections. I'm never surprised at how they behave and how they act during their tenure, because I literally read them and I'm never wrong. I'm absolutely never wrong.
But in the 7th, we've had Kedrick for literally 20 years.
Yes, I know.
We have this one for one. And for the whole life of thing.
When I remember sometime I had met a group of people that were just there listening to Pico just before, and they were like, Kishma, you're in the 7th. I said, I laugh at me, and then I could tell me I showing with my ex, but I got showing my ex and that, because even though Natalia is a close family member, I cannot vote for him and they asked me why. I said, because I don't know how to tell y'all, but I could just see that all of what is behind there and all of what they're saying, all like gonna disappear soon. Is so said, so done. So said, so done.
But how can how can you be that person for years and then do an entire flipperoo in months?
Because as them say, you get caught up with wanting to do for your family. So you
do for family, or is it the power?
So you stop studying people. So, listen,
okay.
Some of us, Cindy, just pretend to be things, and others is actually, there are people who like to talk the talk, and there are other people who like to walk the walk. You don't lose your job, and you still being cut deep. Right?
Oh.
I have been threatened how many times, and I still be in Kishma pen. There are people who don't know how to, they only know the idea of being a radical. They're not actually a radical.
Yeah.
They're not true to making change happen. They're not true to
they jump on bandwagons.
They just like the idea of it, but the thing to make it happen ain't really there.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. And now we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with an update on the COI. Let's do that.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, you enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay. I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? Yes. You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Welcome back. Kishma and I are here and we're chopping it up. Kishma is my favorite go-to co-host. That's my new name for her. I know she loves it. She blushes every time I say it. She's my go-to co-host. She's always ready to have a conversation, and I appreciate that because you can't find a lot of people that, you know, have the chutzpah, that's what you call it, to, you know, do this. It takes a lot. As you can tell, it takes a lot from you personally, your energies and just everything. You know what you're going to get when you have conversations like these and when you dare to open your mouth in the BVI. There are ramifications. And so I appreciate that she takes the time when I call her to come and just sit down and break down the subjects with me or the issues that's going on in the territory. So we're going to get back to it. And we're going to probably wrap up soon. I see my time is going down. Hopefully my girls behind there will give me an extra 5 minutes. Alrighty, so the Commission of Inquiry. What's going on with that?
You start to release some letters and some numbers.
Yeah.
Certain people are not the most recent one is a particular, I call his name before only specifically because, well, no malice. I never have any malice towards people. I just like to talk the things. And the reason I call his name, and when I mentioned it, I remember on my live I said, you know, I want to see what's going to happen when this individual falls out of favor with all political parties because, you know, they've enjoyed a lovely run of starting with the red and white and then with the green and white. And it's like, you know, you've been managing to have close to 6 figures or high 5-figure contracts repeatedly over and over and over.
But Kishma, I don't think that he'll ever follow the favor truly with any of them.
And in certain instances, I mean, sometimes this man's monthly salary is beyond what it is the lowest civil servant to make. The messenger them don't make that kind of money. Some of the breakdowns of some of these contracts, the messenger don't make them kind of money. And it's I know that a lot of those things have been for contracts.
We're speaking about Claude Skelton Klein?
A lot of those things have been for contracts for work that consultancy work that what's the benefit? Where is it? Where's the work that's actually being produced? I mean, like there are a lot of in-house, and by in-house I mean local consultants here on the government's payroll. But what work are they actually producing? What work are they actually, you know, like what's the?
We're not sure there's any reporting.
Where is the fruits of the benefits of these consultancy contracts? Where are the reports that are supposed to be turned over, these various things, you know?
So what has happened, as Kishma is highlighting while we're giving the Commission of Inquiry update? So a few things has happened. And one of those things were that Claude Skelton Klein was giving a letter. He was given a letter from the Commission of Inquiry, from the commissioner, to give in a report on his contract to government. Now, again, if we had things like freedom of information legislation in place and a proper functioning governance, the Commission of Inquiry wouldn't even have to ask Claude for this information. It would be on record.
Correct.
Because one of the things the Premier did or said when he initially gave Claude this contract, because people were up in arms about it, he said that every time he renews the contract, if he had to, or every 6 months, something like that, I can't remember, that he would give the public an update on what he was working on, where he was with those things, etc. He would give an update. Have you ever gotten an? I've never seen an update come out on this contract and what he's providing
like I
for
said,
government.
I have not seen any reports. I've not heard any reports. I've not heard any initiatives. I mean, I've heard, and he's not the only one. There's I'll call an ex-name too. I'm sorry for those who get offended, but Mr. Sylvester also gets a number of government contracts, consultancy contracts, and sits on a number of boards. And speaking of boards, what is actually qualifying these people who sit on these statutory boards? Because here's my problem.
We know it's campaign promises.
I don't have.
Thank you for helping.
I don't have a problem with the existence of the boards. I do believe that if they're set up in the right way with the right people, they would work.
Absolutely.
The reason I would say that is because Public Service Commission is not meant. Is the actual commission isn't run by civil servants. It's run by people outside. Remember when you go in front of PSC for your interview, none of the people them who actually interviewing you are within the direct service. I remember when I did mines. Colin O'Leary was the head of the board at the time, and I had some other guys there. Pa Watley was one, Douglas Whitney was another one, and I forget this other guy name. He done died. No, but he was it had a lot of those boards back then. It functioned. Now you have a board for the airport. And there's not one pilot on there, not one person with a background with airport management. Same thing with tourist board. You have a board for the tourist board, not one person back there who own a hotel, run a hotel, own a restaurant, run a host. And same thing, hospital again. The hospital have a board made up of a whole bunch of people, and none of them is doctors, or none of them have background in running the hospital.
Okay.
And so then and then here you come now. Ports Authority, same crap again. You have a next board with a whole heap of members, and none of them is board, not even a board captain amongst them.
I don't want to compare the two administrations, but if you looked at the prior boards under the other administration, there were people on the boards that related to the fields.
Right.
And that's a fact.
But
and so it makes you wonder, why has he set the boards up like that? I don't think that this premier just does anything by the whim.
No,
to be honest.
But here's the next thing. As a citizen of the BVI, yes, you want to serve your country. Yes, you want to be a part. Of course, being on these boards do come with a little bit of money and stipend and things like that. You can be honest with yourself and have integrity to say, listen, I don't know my head from my, and I won't say the rest, and I have no business trying to dictate to people who actually work in this industry how to do these things.
I mean, Kishma, look at
like seriously.
I mean, if you look at the fallout and the destruction of our tourism products. You know why that is happening, right? That is happening because of exactly what you said there. And the people that run the tourism industry, they are nowhere to be found. The premier isn't asking them anything. He isn't involving them in any decision making. And then he had the guts and the gumption to say he isn't putting out a tourism plan, which is non-existent. If it's existent, put it out tomorrow. A tourism plan that is non-existent, and say he isn't putting it out because he don't want people to steal it. Did you know that? This is the leader of our territory. We live in the time of the World Wide Web, where everything, before you can get it out of your mouth, it has gone around the world and back. And you'd say something as a leader, something like that. I'm not putting out, is this child's play? I don't get it. Right? So you're right about the boards, and we just, and it brings us back around to the COI. We got a bit distracted, but it brings us back around to the COI, which we were speaking about in terms of Mr. Skelton Klein. So he brought that information out. I'm sure there are other people that got letters.
Oh, yeah.
And they haven't said anything. But I think there's just a concerted effort between Claude Skelton Klein, the premier, and Vino to constantly throw up these distraction balls as it relates to the UK, you know? And instead of us try to like take some responsibility for where we are as a territory. I mean, the Premier was just on the opposition shouting to the top of his voice that the BVI has corruption.
Correct.
That the NDP is corrupt.
Correct.
And all of these things. So you're telling me that now that you've come in, like the whole, like the machine that you're talking about, so that has changed around. Like, did you fire the entire civil service? Did you?
Did you root out your,
come
did
on,
you root out your bad apples? Did you break your cogs? Did you put programs in place and say, listen, we know we've been doing this like this for the last 50 years. It's time for a new day. You know.
You haven't done anything.
We call it. Your line get cut now. You know.
Yeah. And
you're free to papers bond. Done
correct.
with that.
And if you look at a lot of things that this administration has done from a month or two into office, there are a lot of questions that need answering. And I feel like they brought this COI to our doorstep. I feel like it was mingling somewhere in the air, and maybe the UK holding out hope. Let's see what's going to happen with this administration. And they're coming in the trust in the hot fire.
I think the Commission of Inquiry has been, I tell people, I've been seeing the play for years. If you wasn't seeing the play, I was seeing the play, because a lot of our, I don't know if you noticed, how many of our upper level civil servant positions are now being occupied by individuals in which we don't even have a say, where the Crown just basically telling us, oh, don't worry, advertise for that job. We selling a man, right? We selling a man. And in particularly when it comes to our jurisdictional positions, or judges, or DPP, the police commissioner, and the next two moves that I heard, I don't know how true it was, would have been the auditor general and the accountant general. Said, I mean, you're digging, so you're looking.
Correct.
And the governors that you were sending were people with background with white collar crimes and you know that type of justice and stuff, criminal justice. So these are people who actually, they came here with a mandate.
Yes.
So when people, so now when I hear the powers that be talking about turning it into a black versus white thing.
Yeah.
You're not. Listen, you still playing checkers.
Yeah.
The people playing chess.
Facts.
You're not even in the right game.
You're not even in the game.
You don't even even know the rules to start playing with them and answering them, because you didn't even see the play that was coming in front of you, while others who in front of you telling you, brother, we see the play, but you don't want to listen to them. I saw the play.
Correct.
Because it wasn't a 2-day thing that happened. You know, it's been about 15 years this thing been rolling. You know, I sat and I watched it in the civil service. I said, wait, we ain't got no more local commissioners or police no more. What happening here? We ain't got no local, even the prison. They started to even bring them for the prison and all. So that's to tell you that this has been being set up for a while, because here you have to control the legal system if you're trying to bring that level of justice, because if it is still being controlled by the locals, the people that when them get locked up, going to get let off.
Correct.
I mean, think about it. What was about 15, 16 years ago, when we had the first set of government corruption with the office. What they went jail for? 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, spank on the wrist time. So when
and they're back running the government right now.
They're back running
they
the country.
well, not they. Well, at least two of them. At least two of them.
You said it right.
And the thing is, we have so much to catch up on, and we're out of time. So Kishma and I will be back next week. I'm going to drag her back because we haven't gotten through this list, and I know there are a lot of updates that you guys want, and I want to thank you for joining us. Kishma will be back with me next week.
As always.
And we're gonna try to get to the rest that we have on this list and whatever else comes up during this week. It has been great to be back after an extended break. We have some exciting topics and guests for you this season. This is going to be one of our more exciting seasons as we head deeper into the COI. We're definitely gearing up to campaign season. We want to take a look at what could emerge, set the tone for what could emerge, but overall keep you informed and a part of the conversation. And of course, you and I together form where the territory should be headed. Have a good night and rest of week, and I'll see you again next week.